Okay, I
Okay.
started recording whenever you like.
All right.
Please start.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Thomas, Mr. Thomas Kardakaris. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We would like to welcome you in theavios project. It's an Erasmus Plus project funded by the European Union. I'm Mary, and together with me is Onur. I'm from Brussels, Belgium, and Onur is from Izmir, Turkey. We work together in this project, theavios, and this project has actually to do with exploring inclusive tools so as people with visual impairments to be able to work in the theater industry. Through the theavios project, we want to train producers and professionals in the theater industry to work effectively and not to be afraid to cooperate with individuals with visual impairments. So, thank you again for being here. We know that you have a long experience in working as a technician in the theatrical industry. And Honor, if you the stage is yours, you can
Yeah,
start with the
thank you.
questions.
Before the technical questions, I would like to know about you. So, can you introduce yourself and share a bit of your background in the theater industry, particularly your role as a technician?
Great. Yes, of course. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for being in this session. It's very interesting what you do because the visually impaired people are a bit not that satisfied in that industry. What I could say about me is that I was working in the past as an audiovisual engineer. I was responsible in a private theater, mostly. How do you say, mostly pointing to orchestras and choirs, but at the same time we were having also theatrical events and everything. Um, during those events, I was responsible for their technicalities and and the production itself inside the theater, dealing with the lights, the audio, the videos, and all these small technicalities that a theater has.
Mhm.
Um, my background, particularly for as a technician, I was also recording. I was also mixing during the production. We had meetings in advance for these kind of projects, and generally it was a one-man show because the theater was not that big,
Mhm.
so I needed to deal with all this stuff
Okay,
around the production. Yes.
Okay, thank you,
very
Thomas.
interesting.
I can just to comment a bit more, but today I'm an audiovisual engineer in the
Mhm.
European, not the Commission, but the European Economic Social Committees. We're part of the
Okay.
European Union. And what we're doing today is the conference meetings. So I'm part of the conference meetings here as
Mm-hmm.
a technician. That we also, it's funny because these days that we are discussing with visually impaired people and blind specifically people for how to improve their experience inside our rooms with our units.
Wow.
Great
Yes,
coincidence, yeah.
yes, it's
Yeah, this
extremely,
is very
extremely
interesting.
good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
So nice. So let's begin with the technical questions.
yeah.
So, have you had any experience working on theater productions that were designed to accommodate individuals with visual impairments? If so, what sort of adjustments were made?
Okay, visually, per specifically, we weren't very precisely on
Mhm.
that. When we say visual impaired, I believe that there is not only the blind people, but people that they
Of
cannot
course.
actually
Yeah, yeah,
see
yeah.
very well. Uh, what I can say that what we accommodated in situations like we mostly had concerts and events with young children, and when it's fully black in a small theater and things needs to be visualized in a way that is very difficult to be visualized even with people without visual impaired difficulties don't see very clear. So what we were doing is that we were using I can use technical things now. We were using fluorescence lights, fluorescence tapes around
Mm-hmm.
the edges, because we were doing major modifications in that theater to accommodate like 200 people on a stage plus orchestras and everything. Imagine that it was the annual, let's say, big event of that theater, of that school. So we needed to protect as much as possible the little ones. So what we were doing is that we were using as much as possible fluorescence. What I was doing, that was the case, fluorescence tapes around the edges, marking the steps, using arrows, how to move around when there were a few lights, and so they could easily identify themselves, like in the dark. I believe someone who's visually impaired can also have more or less the same feeling around it, even with someone who sees as a normal person. That's the experience in the theater. The only other things that we did was like we had the concerts that we were using. We had some. I remember an event with someone who was totally blind, so we needed to go to the piano, but we assisted them. So it was like nothing crazy to be done there. So not that much of a great experience with visual and blind people, but I can imagine the struggle when it is when the lights are off and we need as people who have perfect, let's say, vision. It's already difficult for us, so I can imagine how it is to be like a visual impaired and try to visualize the place around you.
So speaking of experiences, I want to know whether you feel comfortable working with an individual with visual impairments, either as an audience member or performers themselves. If so, what steps do you take to ensure that you're supporting them effectively?
Okay, I can talk now from the perspective of what we're doing today, that we are trying to support.
Sure.
Specifically, we have one or two members that they're completely blind, and we have old members in our committee, so they struggle to find the exact buttons and everything. So to be honest, I feel comfortable working around them. There is no difference for me. I would say it is one step further. So we need to provide a bit of further assistance to help them and give them more instructions of how to do their work. So yes, you need to spend a bit more time in the beginning, guide them. Where are the buttons? Where is the specific way to find the button that they want? But yeah, after that, I think the visual impaired people would like to be autonomous, and they're very proud on that. So although they have assistance around them,
this is true.
Yes, they have assistance around them. They would like to have an autonomous way of working. At the same time, because of the situation that we have here with the visually impaired people, we had the discussions with the interpreters. Our job is here in the conference rooms with delegate members and the interpreters. So we had discussions with blind interpreters and discussions around how to improve our system and how to give them a better access to our units, because all of the digital units are totally made for people without any visual issues, and the screens doesn't help at all with that. Okay, there are haptic events on the units. You can add a lot of features around the units, but having tools specifically for visually impaired people, it's way easier to assist them and do their job. It's not that it's not there yet. I think it's a very small market, and because the market goes based on consumption and expenditure, it's a very short market of assisting them. But from our side, what we are trying to do is that we discuss with the companies and we try to find solutions, because we want plurality, we want the visibility, we want the accessibility, and not only in documentation but in real life. Because yes, in documentation it is there, but not in real life.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
So yes, we are at that point today.
I see.
And it seems we are on the same page on this. We also.
Well, I understand. Listen, it's not that I don't understand the side of a company. Okay, they need to make profit, but at the same time, have a small chunk or whatever that is for those people that they need assistance.
True, exactly.
True.
So as for my fourth question, I want to ask, do you believe that so it's very related although we didn't design it this way, the questions we ask in a flow of what you provide us.
Yeah.
So, do you believe that producers and employers in the theater industry are hesitant, or they are avoiding including individuals with visual impairments in their productions? If you think, yeah, I mean, if so, why do you think this is the case? I believe you answered, but still.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The case of avoiding hiring this kind of people, it's for a number of reasons. You need to create an environment safe for these people. It's very difficult and very cost ineffective. So if you have a producer who needs to, his ultimate goal is to eliminate the expenses or to make as cheap as possible something as a production or whatever, yes, then it's very difficult to have it, because at the end this expense should go to the, so if we talk about the theater production, this should go to the public, so someone should pay for this. And if the theater ticket should cost 3 times higher for that, I don't know if it's 3 times, but I don't know the cost, then you have, like, how can I say it in English, you have a competitive environment that it's avoiding competitive environment. So people will not pay, or then you make a dedicated market. So you try to avoid to have differential about blind. So you want to integrate them in the normal public, but at the end you differentiate because you cannot afford it. So it's a very complex thing, and I don't know the tools how to introduce them. I think it should be a lot of people involved to align this with someone who's not visually impaired.
Yes, in an ideal world, where there is no aim for profit, as you mentioned, there is still one issue that people are not well educated, trained, or they are not experienced in working with people with blindness or visual impairments.
Yes, even if you are not, if they're trained, they are biased, or if they're not biased, they are reluctant, or if they're not reluctant, and this goes vice versa, because if you are visually impaired people, you are more agitated on doing things, because if something doesn't go well, then you can change the world around you. You will make a real fuss to do what you really want to do, and then it goes to diversity. How open you are with diversity.
So speaking of intentions, I would like to ask, would you be interested in attending such training courses, webinars, or workshops on training theater professionals on theatrical inclusivity for people with visual impairments?
Well, it would be interesting, because in my case scenario, it might don't apply the theatrical events, but it will apply ideas on how to improve our workload, because it's not only the theater itself; it's the whole concept around it. It might be the entrance, it might be the toilet, it might be the way of arriving to the position, to the place. It's the accessibility. It is the psychological support to him and to others, how to deal with visually impaired people, how not to make noises, how to make noises. It's a global thing around it. So yes, it would be interesting. It might also help our workload find solutions like we're searching these days.
So hopefully, as our next step of the project, we will be developing such a training course.
That would be ideal.
Yeah, and later on it will be shared publicly, so that people like you who are interested in such training courses will be able to benefit from the training guide.
By all means, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
We hope to see you again in one of our next training sessions. As Onur said, it was a great pleasure to have you here, and your feedback was really valuable.
Thank you very much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Have a nice day. Thank you.